was amazing. By any standard, Bret may go down as one of the top technicians in the industry.
Bret took the business seriously. I think sometimes to his detriment, he took himself a little too seriously.
Bret believed he was the WWF champion.
On November the 9th, 1997, professional wrestler Bret Hart had fought and clawed his way to the top as world champion. But in a matter of seconds, he would realize that those who make you can just as easily destroy you.
The Montreal Screwjob has been talked about ad nauseum over 23 years. 1997 Survivor Series, Bret Hart's hometown, where Vince McMahon and what many say is a work, where those who say it was real, namely the people that were there, from Bret Hart to Earl Hebner, the referee, to Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, all of them. Jim Cornette, Bruce Pritchard. And there are still people that say it's a work. Scott Hall, for one, says that he feels that it was a work. The guy wasn't there. He didn't talk to anybody. Didn't talk to Shawn, one of his best buddies. Yet he says that it was a work. The thing about it is that nowadays, something like that is a work. Nowadays, it's normal to have something play out like that. But back then, that didn't happen. People nowadays, especially the new fans that maybe have been fans for 10 years, maybe 15 years, like that didn't see it, didn't watch it, didn't, watch it as it happens. I remember watching it when it happened. And it's like, you can't just say, well, that's how it is. It's scripted. It's this and that. It wasn't. I'm one of those people that don't get on these conspiracy theories. People talking about the 9/11, it was an inside job. People talk about the landing on the moon, and it was a production, and it was in the direction of Stanley Kubrick, and so many other things that people see it, especially nowadays, and how people are nowadays, especially the younger generation, the people that they see something that happened in the 70s, 60s, 50s, way back in the day, and they're like going, oh, that's fake, or oh, that wasn't real. I mean, I can get into the whole thing with Bruce Lee and people saying that Bruce Lee wasn't really a martial artist. He was just trained for the movies, or he was just an actor. Yeah, okay, whatever. And so many other things. And it's just like, you can't always look at something and just take it at face value and say, oh, that's fake. Couldn't possibly happen that way, It's almost like everybody believes that whatever they see on TV has to be a production. It has to be, Hollywood. It has to be a movie. It can't possibly be real. I remember when I arrived at work and 9/11 hit, and I saw it. They were replaying what happened when the first planes hit. The first plane hit the towers. I remember talking to one of my coworkers and saying, "Dude, what is that? Is that a trailer for a movie?" Because it looked realistic. It looked like something that could not possibly be happening in real time. He goes, "No, dude, the towers got hit in New York." I'm like, what the fuck, really? And I go, "Yeah, you know." And so the Montreal Screwjob really does fall into that category of, people saying that it was fake, it was a work, it wasn't real. When I mean, yeah, you definitely can't convince people who are convinced. If they're convinced that it was a work. I believe it was real because nothing like that ever happened. I mean, it could be one of those things where this is a way for them to introduce a worked segment storyline that actually, you know, was a way for them to introduce that type of programming because the Montreal Screwjob did a lot. The main thing that it did was it introduced the most the best heel character that ever was created in all of wrestling. That was Mr. McMahon. Vince McMahon looked at that and said, especially with that interview you had with Jr. And he asked him squarely, did Jr. asked him, "Did you screw Bret Hart?" And he summed it up after a few words, and he summed it up by saying, "I think that Bret Hart screwed Bret Hart." And then so was born the character of Mr. McMahon. Nobody knew that he was the owner. They just saw him as a ring announcer. They saw him as a color commentator. Never did they know that he was not only the owner, but his father owned WWF before him, before where Vince took over when his father passed away. And Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were real bitter enemies in real life too, not like how it is now, where you got these guys who are heels, a heel and a baby face going at it, but in real life they're real friends. The curtain call in regards to Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, they were going to leave to go to WCW. They had just been in a match, and then they decide at the end to do a curtain call. They all embrace in the middle of with a steel cage, and I wasn't there. I never, because I was in the military at the time, and I had not I stopped watching wrestling because being so busy being in the military, it was hard for me to get away, and because I've been a fan since I was 12. But then I remember hearing about it like 10 years later, 5, 10 years later, and just thinking to myself, wow, that's how the clique was born. That's how we all found out that they were actual friends in real life. And that was something that I was saying about that earlier, but that's what I was referring to was the fact that you never let that, be expressed, especially in Madison Square Garden. That's the biggest, venue ever, the most popular venue in the world. And you have all eyes on you and they're embracing. And, Scott Hall said that, it was organic. It was something that wasn't planned. People were saying, "Oh, you planned that," and he was like saying, "No, that we, were best friends, and two are leaving, so you have that, and then that was brought up in this episode, season the one episode 2 of Dark Side of the Ring, and it was very, very. Even though it's stuff that I've seen before and stuff like that, but there are a lot of other insights that they brought up that was really interesting. I really, really I love I love this series, and it's really done well. Not everybody is there being interviewed, but key guys were there. Bret Hart, amongst one of them. I'm sure Shawn Michaels probably was. He was probably approached, but then again, he is working for WWE. They probably won't let him talk. I mean, Bruce Pritchard now is working for them, but at this time, this was season 1 last year, so so he wasn't working for them. So that's the reason why. Because I'm sure Vince McMahon doesn't want any of these guys to talk, to give their opinion about it. As far as Vince McMahon's concerned, he's probably like it's in the past. Let's not talk about that. Things are bygones be bygones. He made up with Bret Hart. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. They're probably not bosom buddies, but they have respect for each other now. I mean, it's not like how it used to be. Maybe a little bit of animosity still, but at the same time, because that could never go away. But they're probably better off than they were before. So, yeah, that was really a great episode. Like I said, it's something that everybody knows about, and everybody debates it. People are saying that it's a work, and some people are saying that it's real. You even got wrestlers, like I said, like Scott Hall, who says that it's a work. But he also said that he didn't talk to nobody there. He didn't talk to Shawn. So how can he? And he even said, "Oh, as a what he said, like a professional fan or something like that, like something." Also, a guy who's watched the product for a long time, you know. But if you're that, Scott, you would actually know that it was legit. It was real. Or at least you go and talk to the people. Don't just assume that you think it's this and that and you haven't talked to any of the people. It's like don't be one sided. Don't be like these guys who do a documentary and they just talk to one side and that's it. Or they just push their opinion out there and that's it. That's what's that's the law. That's what I'm laying down and that's what I believe in. You got to go with both sides. You can't just take one aspect of a story and that's it, and you don't go to the other side. Before you say what you said, Scott Hall, you should talk to those people and ask them. Maybe his thinking would change. But yeah, that was my thoughts and review of Dark Side of the Ring, season 1, episode 2, entitled "This Montreal Screwjob." And like I said before, to open up the thing, I believe that it was real because at that time they didn't do stuff like this. Nowadays, it's commonplace. It's a work. It's scripted storylines. The guys who are clashing and who are the heel and the babyface really are friends in real life. Few exceptions where there are people that really hate each other, but at the same time, it's always scripted. It's too obviously scripted for anybody nowadays. Nowadays, you could just like a movie that you watch. You know what's gonna happen. I bet you this is gonna happen. Yep, it happened. I bet you this is gonna happen. Yeah, it happened. Back then nobody can predict what's gonna happen. You know, but who knows? Who knows? I could be wrong, but at the same time, I don't think so because I believe in this. If they're trying to pass off other things nowadays as real, then you'll know that it's not real. That's BS. Come on, that's so scripted. The Montreal Screwjob, as controversial as it is, and you have two sides, one believing and one not believing it. That's how it's going to be for the test of time, even 100 years from now. People are gonna look back at this and go, yeah, that looks real, and then other guys go, wow, that's phony. That's not real. It's gonna continue to be like that forever. Oh, and the funny thing about that episode is the fact that Jim Cornette and Vince Russo still hate each other's guts. I think it's more from Jim Cornette's side, especially when you look at this episode. Jim Cornette pretty much tagged it, saying that when Vince Russo is dead, he's gonna find his grave and he's gonna piss on it. It's like there's just no getting along with these two, huh? During this episode, even these two are conflicting in who came up with the idea for the Montreal Screwjob. You had Jim Cornette stating that he got the idea from a screw job that happened in 1931, but then Russo saying that, well, if he came up with it, I wasn't in the room, and he didn't bring it up when we were in the room together. He says that he brought it up, so it turned into another opportunity for Jim Cornette to, pretty much bash Vince Russo, and then Vince Russo defended himself and all this stuff. It's just never going to end. It's never going to end. It's hilarious to me. Two grown men still acting like children, still wanting to take it to the schoolyard, if you will, and fight after school kind of thing. It's like, grow up, you guys. Come on, grow up. But anyway, that's my again, like I said earlier, that's my thoughts on this episode of The Dark Side of the Ring, entitled The Montreal Screwjob, episode 2. So for those of you who stopped by and checked out my video, I appreciate it. And in closing, and as always, take care. Please remember to subscribe, click like, and click the bell icon for all notifications on this channel.